Hello everyone, welcome to my channel about making money online. On this channel, I show my workdays in the format of a regular live blog. And today, I will continue to work on one of the strategies that I found and tested. Today, I will use 3 indicators in my work. I'll start by adding them to the chart. So, the first indicator I'll be using today is called MACD. I add it to the chart, immediately go to the settings, and set the following options here. I don't change the fast period, so I leave it at 12. I decrease the slow period to 22, and I decrease the signal period to 8. Then I go to Styles, and here I leave only the MACD histogram. So I just disable these lines. Then I press the Save button, and the MACD indicator starts to look like this for me. Then I add a second indicator to the chart. Its name is SAR. I just add it to the chart, then go to Settings. Here in the first field, I use the value 0.02, and in the second field, I use the value 0.2. So basically, standard values. The only thing I change here is the color of this indicator, and I make it a bit thicker, just to make it more convenient for me to work with. The last indicator I will use today is called ADX. I also add it to the chart, go to the settings, and here I change the first parameter to 12, and I also change the second parameter to 12. Then I go to the styles, and today, as usual, I will only use the ADX line. I turn off the other 2 lines, then I press the Save button. And also, today I will be opening 1-minute trades. And in order to receive signals specifically for 1 minute, I will use the following chart settings. I use the candlestick chart type and set the value here to 30 seconds. If I wanted to open 2-minute trades, then I would set the value here to 1 minute for the candle's time frame. If I wanted to open 30-second trades, then I would set it here to 15 seconds. That is, when I work according to this strategy, I use the following rule. I take the time I am going to open a trade for and simply divide it by 2. And this is exactly the candle time frame I use. Since today I will be opening 1-minute trades, I will be using a candle time frame of 30 seconds today. And this is how my chart looks. I have set up all the necessary indicators, and now I can gradually start explaining how I work with this strategy. But before that, I remind you that in the pinned comment I left a platform that I am working on today. If needed, you can go to this platform, open your account here for free in a couple of minutes, after which a demo account will be available to you where you can test this and any other strategy. You can spend 5 minutes, register, and then a demo account with all the necessary features will be available. The link is in the pinned comment. Now, let me get back to describing the strategy. So, how do I work with this strategy? I can work with absolutely any chart. For example, it could be an OTC asset. Let's even open an OTC chart. And what do I do first? First, I look at the ADX indicator, and I'm interested in where the indicator line ends. And in order for me to be able to enter trades at all, I need this line to end at a value higher than 20. So, what's the point? I'll explain briefly. ADX shows the strength of the current movement. At the same time, it doesn't matter where this movement is directed. It can be an upward movement or a downward movement. And the higher the value, the stronger the current movement. Therefore, to enter a trade, I need the current movement to have the appropriate strength to be strong enough. And that's why I only enter trades at times when the ADX value is higher than 20. This is the first condition. The second condition is that I need the ADX value, or rather the ADX indicator line, to be either pointing upwards or staying flat. So the main thing is to ensure it's not downwards, because, well, right now you can notice there was such an upward movement on the chart and the ADX indicator showed a small increase, after which the chart reversed and now the ADX value is falling just because the ADX indicator is still showing the strength of that previous upward movement. So, what situation could occur? For example, the chart can rise for a long time, the ADX value will be at a very high level, then the chart will turn around and go down while the value will be above 20. However, the line will be pointing down because the ADX indicator does not show the strength of the current movement, but it will show the strength of the previous movement. But if there is such a situation today, I will show you what it looks like in practice. So, the first condition is that the ADX indicator should be above 20 and its line should not be pointing downwards. Then, as soon as I understand that based on the ADX indicator, I can open trades on the chart, I look at an indicator called MACD. And based on this indicator, I determine in which direction I can open trades now. If I see that the bars on the histogram are drawn below the zero mark, meaning they are going down, it means I can enter a down trade. If these bars are drawn above the zero mark, meaning above zero, it means I can enter an up trade. And the last indicator I pay attention to, which acts as a filter, is the SAR indicator. For example, if I want to open a down trade, I need the dots to appear above the chart right now. This means that the SAR indicator confirms a short-term downward movement. If I plan to enter an up trade, I need the dots of the SAR indicator to appear below the chart. In this case, it confirms that there is currently a short-term upward movement. I can enter an up trade on this movement. This is theoretically how the strategy sounds. And now I will try to open several trades according to this strategy and show how I work with it. So, first of all, I need to find a suitable chart where I can enter a trade. Right here, the ADX indicator line is slightly downwards, so on this chart I can't enter trades even though the value is above 20. So, I need to find something else. I just switch between currency pairs and look at the ADX indicator, trying to find where I can enter a trade. Well, here, basically, it's a good situation. Yes, I can enter an up trade here for 1 minute. This means the ADX indicator shows a value above 20. Moreover, the ADX indicator is currently at a fairly high level. This upward movement has been going on for quite a long time and has already gained a lot of strength. Then, according to the MACD indicator, I see that the bars are above the zero line, and the SAR indicator confirms an upward movement as it is plotting its dots below the chart. Therefore, I entered into an up trade. I opened the trade for $300 as usual, using an amount that does not exceed 1% of my balance. In case this trade ends in a loss, I'll simply cover it with a doubled amount. And consequently, there are just over 15 seconds left until the end of the trade. I can immediately prepare a doubled amount of $600 in case this trade closes at a loss. But if the trade closes in profit, then the next trade I will open again for $300 as before. So 1 second remains and my trade closes in profit. Wonderful. There is no sense in doubling. I return the amount here to $300, and now I would like to find a situation where I could enter a down trade to also show how it all works. Well, for example, at the moment I can't enter a down trade here because the MACD indicator bars are appearing above the zero line, so I'll find something else. I could have stayed on that chart in principle. It's quite likely that the downward movement would have continued there. So, what do we have here on this chart? Well, I can enter a down trade here. So, what do I see? According to the ADX indicator, the value is above 20, while the line is on a plateau. Overall, I see that the ADX indicator is currently showing the strength of this downward movement. Then, according to the MACD indicator, the bars are drawn below the zero mark, and the SAR indicator confirms that there is currently a short-term downward movement. Therefore, I entered a $300 down trade. Again, I'll immediately prepare here $600 just in case, to enter a cover trade so that it can be done quickly if such a necessity arises. If this trade closes in profit, then I will simply record the net profit on this chart. Basically, there was quite a good situation here to enter a down trade, and I think that this down trade will close in profit without problems. There are just over 10 seconds left. This is the strategy. Basically, with this strategy, you can quickly determine whether you can enter a trade right now or not. That's why I like it. And my second trade, which is a down trade, also ends in profit. Well, that's the strategy. I hope you discovered something new. If this video was helpful for you, remember to like it and subscribe to my channel. Your support is the best way to thank me, as I don't have any paid courses and all I have is this YouTube channel. Therefore, your engagement is the best gratitude for me. I also remind you that on my channel, I only share my personal experience. I do not give financial advice. With that, I'll say goodbye to you. I wish you luck.